Okay, let's go ahead and get started there, everybody. Welcome back to another Strange Road Gym portion of the stream where I'm coding up some Terraria mods. Now, um, uh, if you've been following me along a little bit, you'll know that last time we had pretty much completed this basic tModLoader modding guide. Um, that kind of showed us how to go about, creating ourselves a tutorial sword and, basic, understanding of how things are kind of set up for the most part on this. So, um, now, um, Now there are, still some things that, we didn't necessarily cover last time, such as if you're new to modding, you're probably also new to programming itself and possibly the C# language. Well, no, not new to programming, but, C# language, sure. Um, it's recommended to start with easy things and work your way up the ladder of difficulty, which is what I plan on doing anyway. So, like for example, we have a lot of, potential, you know, easy tutorials for the most part, trying to get, up to an idea as to how to, not only code in the Terraria mods, but also kind of learning more and more about the C# language in the meantime as well. So, or at least that's the plan, you know. So, don't forget your water there, folks. So, but for the most part, I don't think there was anything else in the last portion of this that was um, that really kind of stood out to me. Um, in terms of the modding guide for the most part. Um, so at least for the most part, um, because eventually we want to make a user interface, right? That's the main mod that I'm going to be kind of aiming for is a user interface. Um, but obviously, I'm going to be needing to handle a lot of um, taking in um, you know uh, looking up information on weapons, on tools and like in Calamity to try to make the UI functional for um, what I'm kind of looking for. Now, um, this might get a little this might get a little problematic because um, if um, if someone was to actually add like another weapon into say Calamity, then it might cause the my like if I'm trying to do a like a tech tree, or that's my intention of where I want to kind of go with the user interface, like a tech tree for weapons and items and stuff like that. If they add more weapons and items, then how am I supposed to know um, what might work? You get what I'm saying? Or how am I supposed to allow for those new weapons to potentially be used? Unless I basically ask the community, hey, I'm gonna be creating this. Could you guys code up, you know, this for your weapons so that, it will display properly? Uh, I don't know if I can actually, if I myself can do that and get like the modding community's support along those lines, right? So it would mean that most likely I would have to try to put in the work to try to set everything up for every single weapon that gets brought out. And I could see eventually I'm probably gonna, get to a point where I'm not gonna be able to update it as much. So, um, in my mind, it would be best if I can find a way to allow for it to be, in a sense, self-updating, so that if they were ever to bring out a brand new weapon, it would be able to um, find what's needed to make said weapon and automatically put that into the tech tree to begin with. So, um, to allow for the mod itself to basically like auto update itself, I guess you might say. And that would probably put a lot of um, that might be a little difficult for me to try to figure out. So that might be an interesting process for me to look into, you know. So um hmm. I mean, the other thing that I can think of is maybe um I could do it along the lines of the um I can maybe try to put it along the lines of the guide. Like I can try to tie it in with how the guide figures out the materials associated with said item and be able to kind of build that tech tree from there. And then just try to, like every single item that you put into um, for the guide to look up, he'll basically build out your tech tree or something like that. Maybe. I don't know. It's something for me to figure out as we go along. So it might be, while, I figured it might be interesting for me to try to make, um, logistically, it might be a nightmare to try to put together. So, you know, so at some, if it gets to that point where it just is too much, then obviously I'll stop, production of said mod. But um, I don't know. We'll see. So there are many resources available so you can become a better modder. First of all, this wiki. On the right side of the page, you will find the wiki menu, which houses links to various different tutorials and guides that you can use. These are all separated into your own different difficulty level, from basic being the easiest and expert being the hardest. That's most likely, this right here. So we don't really need to worry about it. Um, they have the tModLoader Discord. I don't necessarily want to join that just yet. I want to learn a little bit more first before I consider joining on the tModLoader Discord. Plus, I'd rather start working on my mod before I really start like discussing it with other modders on their Discord. So that's all. Um, Alright, so naming convention, that's already been kind of talked about a little bit, um, in the sense that, you want to try to use more camel case. Um, so, um, oh, no, okay, so they're, right, okay. They're making the clear distinction that they're using Pascal case, which is basically capitalizing the first letter, versus camel case, where the first letter is uncapitalized. So, okay. So it's Pascal case in this. So, okay, that's fine. More advanced topic, part of design patterns, blah blah blah. Code is tidy. At least I have to try to. um, Try to find repeating parts of the code and give it a dedicated method. Um, so comment the code. So um, like for example, if it gets to the point where I'm gonna have to actively try to put in like every single weapon inside my code or something like that, then I would have to basically put like a section, for example, and basically say, you're adding a new weapon, put it here for it to be listed on the, um, you know, in the tech tree or something like that. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out, when the time comes. But um, and then of course publishing the mod. So um, and obviously, workshop guides and stuff like that on how to go about doing that. But to be honest, we are pretty much done with this particular page for the most part. Um, I'm gonna move on to another page, with another different tutorial, and we'll go from there. Um, so, um, we have this one that we could do. We have this one that we can kind of look at or work on, see if either one of these are, um, too much different. If there's going to be a lot of difference between the two. This really doesn't look like it has much overall, or at least, anything that might be, like, it might be the basics, but, you know, um, that I would need to probably get, the next tutorial. So, um, so I'm gonna go and close down that page. Um, it might be that I might need to just kind of work through the easy guides, and then proceed on with um, with like the intermediate and advanced guides, you know, as we go along. But uh, let me uh, let me see about um, let me see about looking at our um, about this one here. See if there's anything super useful. So I think this has something very similar to what we just made, but we'll see. It might be from the same creator, bear in mind. Um, so let's see. Um, more and more intermediate difficulty will often require more extensive understanding of C# and knowledge of the API. We've already handled the prereqs, so we don't need to worry about that. Um, let's see. Example mod is a mod that contains various code to showcase what tModLoader is capable of. Please note that most of these are very blunt examples. They should be considered a base reference, but nothing more. There's also the old TAPA docs, but they're practically useless at this point. Hey, let's get to it already. Please note I like to write out things a lot. If you're not about text, you might be better to watch a video guide instead. So, um, let me see. Is there... this is just a lot of information, or, like I can potentially, get the example mod here if I really wanted to and take a look at it, but I'd rather not right at this point. So, um, I'm not coming from the TAPI or the tconfig experience, so we don't need to worry about that. Um, let's see. We don't necessarily need to worry about this. And your mod name with mod, so um, I mean, it seems like this one is very similar to what we just kind of finished for the most part. Um, and could be pretty much the, same person here. So I don't necessarily know if I'm really going to be needing to worry about this too much. So, um, hmm. My project should have only one mod class. More information about class inheritance or derived classes can be found here. One method. In this case, it's actually not really a method, but certainly it looks like one. Method you see is actually your class constructor. It's called when a new instance of your class is created. There's properties of a mod in it, which will then be set with when TML creates a new instance of your mod. More information about class constructors can be found here. And the generated skeleton various autoload properties are set to true. It's recommended to keep autoloading on as it saves you from writing a lot of unnecessary code. As we're going to take a look Another file in your mod's root directory, build.txt. Um, yeah, we kind of already know about build.txt. We don't necessarily need to worry about that. Um, don't need to worry about the description.txt. Let's have a look at our items directory. That's different from our root directory. CS file, sort of sprite that goes along with it. TML will look for the item sprite in the same directory using the same net directory. TML will look for its date for is dedicated to the namespace your class is in. Notice how the storage namespace goes along with the directory path. Also note that sprites should always be in .png format, even animated sprites, which use .png sprite sheets, not GIFs. More on this in a later stage. You can open the stored file, same way you did for the mod file. You will notice there's quite a bit more code to this than our selected mod class. Your code should look similar to the following. Um, slightly different than the code that we used before, but it seems like yeah, this one's 8 years old, so they probably made some, or 7 years old, whatever. Um, a lot of the, you know, default functions that they're kind of talking about is probably already been deprecated or whatnot. So, you know, for example, the fact that, when we made our sword, it had like the set defaults and add recipes, but that's about it. It didn't have this set static defaults to it. So this was moved to a different folder. So, or at least, was it moved to a different folder? Hold on, let me verify that real quick. Um, what was it? Hmm. Tooltip. Oh, is it here? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, sorry, you guys aren't really seeing what I'm even talking about right at the moment. Matter of fact, I'm even in the wrong scene collection. Let me switch this over. Okay. Yes, we still have that up. Let's go ahead and hide that one. And let's try to build out our um, there's that. Okay, why am I hidden all of a sudden? There we go. I was about to say, I'm like, hello. Let's recover the camera here. Alright. But as you can see, the JSON file there, has the display name and the tooltip, whereas um, um, the website, has the information right up here. So they move some things around. So, um, default knockback is always 0. Um, Notice that knockback is a float and not an integer, meaning floating numbers are possible, such as 6.5 knockback. Also notice how the type is denoted by appending the F after the number. Also note that simply noting 6.5 will result in an error, as this is a double, not a float, which can also be denoted by appending a D after the number. It's very important that you understand the various different built-in data types in C#. Indeed. Although technically they didn't put anything here in terms of the um, they didn't add any floating numbers directly here, but they say that the knockback here is a float, which you can see that right there. So um, int 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 damage class int 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 sound style and a boolean. So all right. Okay. Let's see. Mod recipe, dirt block. More on recipes in the later tutorial. Right now you have the bare bones set of free mod. You can go in game and try the build mod. It should work. What do I need to know about mods and mod sources in in-game menu? Let's see. Um, Terraria. Yeah, okay. It doesn't really look like there's much else here that is really super useful at this time. It's pretty much a repeat from the other one, so that's fine. Sometimes you'll have to mod object available, but not always. Access your mod. Declare a new static object in your instance, in your mod class. Override the load hook and set your object instance here. And access your mod instance when the mod object is not available. Alright. So, and Now, I don't know if he has done any formal, like, tutorial 2 or anything along those lines. At least nothing from what I can see here for the time being. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and kind of close down this one because it was pretty much just a repeat from the previous. So um, that previous website, that we worked on to kind of take care of everything. So so I think I'll just go ahead and close that one down. Um, and then let's look at this one here, which again, I don't really see anything here that outright looks, different from anything that we really need to know, that we haven't already, you know, seen um, in the previous tutorial. Um, so we're pretty good already with this for the time being. Let's see what this. Um, hmm, Apparently we have Modding Tutorial 2 Basic Item Sword, which if they're gonna do the exact same thing with the sword that we had last time, then or the sword from the other tutorial, then that's gonna be kind of a waste of our time. Um, okay, it's kind of weird that he has two separate links here, but whatever. Um, let's see. Um, okay. Um, okay. Um, okay, so I mean, this one's a little bit different in the sense that, they are kind of trying to show you how to go about adding a particular buff. Um, and the fact that you have melee effects here. But again, I'm not necessarily looking for outright, like weapon damage or anything along those lines, for my for what I kind of want to do, right? So, um, you know, and even then, I'm not quite sure if they've, you know, have they kind of changed this up a little bit? Hard to say. Um, okay, so they're working on setting up a gun which has projectiles. Um, okay. Again, I'm not really all that interested in this per se. You know, but again, it's not my um, it's not exactly what I'm going to be looking for. You know, obviously this might be handy for anybody that might be wanting to create a new weapon for themselves, right? Um, but if I'm looking for, more as a user interface, this wouldn't necessarily be um, too useful, you know, um, overall for me. So, um, let's see. Um, so this might be good if you want to kind of create yourself some weapons. For me, it's not as useful as I would prefer. And unfortunately, there's nothing else this particular uh, tutorial is offering, and that's fine. You know, um, so if you want to kind of check out, you know, um, this particular creator, and their tutorials, go check out, this particular website and check out, how to actually, put together some mods using their information that they provided. Is it the correct way of going about doing it? I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or another about it. You might have some people that might look at it and go, "This is awful." That you might have some people that say this is, the best thing ever. I have no hat to throw into the ring on this one, so I'm just gonna, not my place. So I don't really have any interest in this at this particular moment in time. So we're just going to go ahead and say, you know, if you if you enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't, find another tutorial that can, kind of thing. So, all right. So we're gonna go and close down that one. Okay, which means we have the easy guides here that we're going to be kind of looking at, the intermediate and the advanced guides to kind of go through all this and see what we can find out here, right? So let's look at the basic guide prerequisites, which probably is just going to be like, hey, here's how to set up everything, right? So text editor, drawing program, make a simple mod. Yeah, okay. We don't really need to worry about pretty much any of this for the time being. We're not going to worry about the drawing program yet. Um, not gonna not gonna stress about that for the time being, as it is anyway. We're just trying to make um, trying to make a tech tree, you know, we're probably going to be needing some form of like drawing program or something along those lines, or something to have a visual representation of the tech tree. But for the most part, um, I'm not planning on making anything super fancy. I'm not an artist. I don't really have any interest in art, to be honest. Um, so, if someone wants to, work on art for this particular mod, then let me know. But I can't pay you anything. Um, so yeah, okay. Basic prereqs, don't need to worry about that. What is a sprite? Um, so sprite refers to 2D graphics simply found in 2D games. Okay, so they're just kind of basically talking about overall sprites. I mean, not really gonna be, um, I don't think I really need to worry about this. Again, I'm not really creating any new weapons or anything along those lines or new monsters. So, I still might need a little bit to handle having a proper user interface. You know, um, for example, um, let's see. Well, first off, let's go ahead and disable all. We're gonna enable that one. And um, let me maybe enable the magic storage for um, our tModLoader, you know, and see. Hmm, okay. It looks like, um, I was kind of hoping that I could, when I did the tModLoader, it would bring in the robot that had its own kind of UI. But I mean, we can just kind of like, hey, here's the shop, right? And, like, we might need like a very specific kind of user interface, for example, or user interface, for example, or, something, right? So we might need something very specific um, to what our intended UI is going to be for this. So, um, hey there, bud. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. How's your day been? All right. So, let me go ahead and remove that for right now. All right. So, sprites probably not going to be like the um, um, not going to be anything that I'm going to be worried too much about at this point. Um, so we'll just go ahead and kind of not worry about that one. Okay, apparently, um, we had a little bit of problem. Can I go back to the easy guides here? Hold on a second. Let me get back the page in question. There we go. Not quite sure what was going on there, but it is what it is. Alright. Alright. Go back to that. Vertical streaming is good if you want to eventually put it up on the if you want to put it into shorts. And I don't really have any time and patience to handle that right at this moment in time, so it doesn't really matter to me right at this point. So, okay, let's go ahead and go to the basic ammo guide. So, um, now, for the intended, um, for what I'm going to be aiming for, obviously I'm not going to be adding any kind of new ammo or anything along those lines, but I may need to reference said ammo, as a, potential, tech tree format, right? So, um, um, hmm. So, what is ammo? I mean, if you've played the game, then you know what ammo is all about. But ammo is a system that links weapon items, ammo items, and projectiles together. Basic idea is this: weapon items that have item use ammo set to an ammo ID. Ammo items that weapon should use have item ammo set to the same ammo ID, and that ammo item has item dot shoot set to the particular projectile that will be shot by the weapon when the ammo is used. As an example, let's consider wooden bow and flaming arrow. The wooden bow has item use ammo is equal to ammo ID dot arrow. So, you know, if you have anything other than arrow and, as an ammo, then it wouldn't necessarily work for your wooden bow, right? So, and flaming arrow has item dot shoot projectile ID fire arrow. And item dot ammo is equal to ammo ID dot arrow. So when the player is shooting their wooden bow, Terraria looks at the player's inventory and searches for items with item.ammo matching wooden bows use ammo. If the ammo item is found, the ammo's items.shoot projectile is spawned and the ammo is consumed. So, as a convention, ammo IDs match the item ID in the first ammo item. For example, ammo ID arrow and item ID wooden arrow are both equal to 40. All other arrows have item.ammo is equal to ammo ID.arrow. So, all right. How do I use vanilla ammo for my weapon? To use vanilla ammo, simply set item.use ammo to the correct ammo ID. For example, example gun is example mod has the item.use ammo is equal to item ID.bullet. So now obviously if you have like a different um, if you're like creating a different new like ammo type, then you might need to like try to generate a new ID with it. Um, but yeah. Um, so to make an ammo that belongs to a vanilla ammo class, simply set item ammo to the correct ammo ID. For example bullet has ammo or dot ammo is equal to ammo ID dot bullet. Set in its default method. In addition, the ammo item must also define the projectile that the ammo shoots. Example bullet shows this example dot shoot is equal to mod content projectile type example bullet so on and so forth. I'm kind of curious if they allow for any additional MIDs to be added in, but it might not. Hard to say right at the moment. So, like, it might restrict me on, um, like it might only have like, arrow or bullet or something along those lines, you know, and that's it. You can't, you know, you might not have the capability of doing anything beyond that, you know. So potentially, I don't know. I don't know what they have in terms of what you can and can't do in this example. So, or in the tutorials, there might be a way. Maybe. Hard to say. A new ammo class can be made by designing one of your ammo items in the MOD. Example mod shows us a new example custom ammo class. The example custom ammo item has the dot ammo is equal to item dot type. Okay. To designate it as the defining ammo of the ammo class. Example custom ammo gun has item that use ammo is equal to example custom ammo. So, um, so your gun uses this particular ammo. So there you go. To match the pattern we have established with vanilla ammo items, any further ammo would have dot ammo is equal to mod content, item type, and any other weapons using that ammo would have item use ammo, for that item type. Okay, so that's how you go about, setting, your different ammo. Instead of having the ammo ID of bullet for the vanilla, you would be using the ammo class, so as the ammo type. So, um, again, I don't know if there's any way for you to add a new ammo ID to allow for us to like just easily say, hey, dot ammo is equal to ammo ID dot nuke or something like that, right? You know, um, we don't know if that is available right at this time. Um, that might be more advanced, so they're probably not going to cover that right away. But, you know, um, but yeah, not necessarily something that, again, I personally need to worry about, but um, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So, use a global item class to set dot ammo and dot shoot to a new projectile that you've made. Um, so, um, so yeah, hmm, okay. Use a global item class to set item.ammo and item.shoot to a new projectile that you've made. Um, Note that using vanilla items to make new items runs the risk of conflict with other mods, so use it sparingly to maintain compatibility and to prevent your players from getting confused. Indeed. weapons using multiple ammo types or ignoring specific ammo items. The mod item dot can choose ammo hook allows weapons to supplant the normal ammo choosing logic. The common usage is to allow a weapon to use multiple ammo types. See example specific ammo gun for an example of this, as well as additional notes. Manually consuming ammo. Ammo is typically consumed by weapons via the game logic, but there are situations where the modder might need to manually choose and consume ammo. Typical example of this held projectile weapons. These include Vortex Beater, Phantasm, Celebration, MK2, and Phantom Phoenix. Okay. So, so again, we might be, well, this might be a little interesting in that, if we're going to be making a tech tree, then most likely we're probably going to be seeing like mod content a lot. Or we're probably going to need to kind of reference mod content, to show all the different weapons that could fill in the tech tree. But um, you know, the we're probably not going to be seeing too much in terms of the item ID dot rope. Notice how like the ammo there has, in a sense, two different projectile types here, but the item ID is still pretty much the same. So, you know, um, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least how I could really kind of get it to really work out, but we'll see. We'll see. Basic auto loading guide. Okay. Auto load is a mechanism whereby tModLoader makes some assumptions about your mod in order to simplify the amount of work the modder has to do in their mod. In this basic guide, we will focus on how textures are auto-loaded because that is the primary interest of beginner modders. Items, projectiles, and NPC all need a texture to work correctly. Any one of these without an associated texture will cause your mod to be unable to load. tModLoader can't magically know which texture file you want associated with which thing, but it can make an educated guess based on the pattern it knows. This is pattern. Take the T sources path, or the mod sources. Add the namespace of the class, replacing dot with backslash or forward slash, whatever. Namespace and example mod slash NPCs. Add the class name of the class, then append PNG. In more concise terms, look at the PNG file with file name matching the class name of the thing in the folder designated in the namespace of the class. Basically, just make sure that the CS file and the PNG file exist in the same directory and that the class in the CS file matches the file name of the PNG file. It is a good idea to also make sure the CS file matches the class name and PNG file name as well. Well, I mean, this typically is like one of the standard givens for anything that if you're coding, that's pretty much standard for the most part. So, so you don't necessarily want to change that up because you might potentially have some additional problems that might arise from that, potentially, you know, um, in that, sometimes uh, when it's trying to build the, when it's trying to build the code, for example, it might not know what uh, class to really kind of look for potentially. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. Um, that it might not know um, kind of what to really kind of start off with for the most part. That's all. All right. So make sure that the folder path from the mod sources folder matches namespace. A visual explanation. Extra textures. In addition to the normal texture that a piece of content might require, there are other textures that will be auto-loaded for specific types of content. Listed here are the most common examples of this. Accessory items with textures that draw on the player have auto-load equip type dot something, and entering the class. These items require a separate texture postfixed with the equip type, such as back or shield, for example. 10 NPC and boss NPC classes annotated with the auto-load head and auto-load boss head will automatically will auto-load textures postfixed with head and head boss textures respectively. Uh, these are the textures drawn to the minimap. Tiles with tile ID that sets dot hash out has outlines. Set will auto-load textures postfixed with the highlight containing a small interact outline texture. Mounts and minecarts will need a texture. Extra textures postfixed with back, drawn behind the player, front, drawn in front of the player, or other options will be auto-loaded. At least one will be necessary for a functioning mount. Music files need to be in the folder or subfolder of a folder named music to be auto-loaded as music. Modders can use musicloader.addMusic for any music file that does not meet that condition. And background texture files need to be in a folder or subfolder of a folder named backgrounds to be auto-loaded as background textures. Modders can use background texture loader, add background texture for any texture file that does not meet that condition. Alright, so um hmm. Now we're probably going to be needing this a little bit um in terms of when if we set it up so like, hey, this player, if they want to look at the tech tree, they have to hit said button, and obviously that might need to auto load the overall texture of what they're going to be kind of looking at, and all the information contained in it. So um, So I'm probably going to need to kind of remember this a bit in order to handle this when we get to the point where we're going to be adding in that um, um, when we start building the tech tree. So excuse me. Okay, basic coordinates guide. Okay, not exactly something that I'm going to be looking forward to or looking to really worry about too much, but um, you know, I still might need to use this in a fashion potentially, such as screen coordinates. Um, but I think we're gonna hold off on this for right now. Let's go ahead and save this for next study session because we're already 1 hour um, into this portion of the stream, this coding stream, or this portion of the coding stream, I should say. Um, we're gonna go ahead and close on down this part and switch on over to Final Fantasy VII. So for those of you watching this on YouTube, a like and subscribe would be fantastic. Check out all my other playlists that I have, gaming and coding combined. Well, not combined, but you know, there's multiple different playlists out there if you're interested in that. So check those out if you want. Check out the description for multiple links down below as well. And we're gonna go ahead and close on down here. So um, yeah, that's gonna be it. So thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you all next time.